Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel and thank you all so much for watching. I'm actually using a book called Facial Expressions, Babies to Teens. It's an outdated book. I actually came across it at the library, and I'm really old school, so I'd rather have a paper version of things rather than look it up on the internet. But if you just need to look at references and different perspectives, you can always just look up pictures on Google. I thought it was a really neat book. It has a lot of different angles of the same face, and usually if you're getting into character design, you're gonna have to draw different angles of your character, especially for turnarounds, which we'll talk about later. Specifically for this video, I wanted to address practicing drawing expressions, because if you do want to get into character design, I do think it is obviously a very important part, because you're creating a character and that involves a lot of stretch and squash of the face. I think warm-ups are really important because sometimes it can be very overwhelming to just start drawing, and we put a lot of pressure on ourselves for everything to be perfect. And this was a really good way for me to know that I'm practicing something fundamental for character design, but also just kind of relax my arms so that I could start drawing without as much pressure on myself. It makes me kind of loosen up my wrist, because a lot of times when we start drawing, and I know it's something that I'm not alone in, a lot of artists tend to not want to start drawing, and that's always like the first page is like the most haunting page, and you're trying to make it perfect and you don't want to mess it up. And I don't remember which video, but I watched a video on someone talking about like just conquering that fear and being like, I just use my first page to scribble on and get past that fear. Like I always make it a point to ruin my first page so that I can just get over it and move on, which I thought was a really cool way to go about it. I usually just decided to sketch. I could have stuck to one page because there's different angles of the models on this book, but if I stuck to one page, I wouldn't be challenging myself to different facial structures, and also, even though we have similar expressions, everyone's face is different. So I chose to challenge myself and switch it up. There are many warm-ups you can do. Some people draw repetitive circles so that you can get used to drawing that circle base for the face. Some people there's different techniques for warm-ups. This is kind of like an observational drawing for me type of warm-up. It's just to kind of not put too much pressure on myself on expressions and just kind of try to feel out the drawing. And you'll notice during this video, I started off pretty tense, or at least I felt really tense. I will say right now that my first drawing was not one of the best ones. I'm not used to drawing as many expressions as the face has, and that's something that is in my personal journey of obviously getting comfortable with, especially if you want to tackle character design. We know like the typical ones like happy, sad, mad, but there's like extremes of these. So you can be really excited or angry, and like your eyebrows will like scrunch up and your nose will scrunch up. We have a lot of muscles on our face. But I thought it was really important to kind of talk about my hesitation to start this. Even though I know that it's a practice, like I said, we usually are very hard on ourselves because we want the first one to be perfect. And I will ruin the surprise for you. This first one is not going to be very good. Just plain and simple. And that's okay, because to be quite honest, I haven't really drawn realistic. Actually, I haven't practiced my facial expression drawings for like 3 months maybe. One of the reasons I stopped going to school right now was because I was focusing more on learning softwares rather than like the fundamentals, which I feel like for myself and for what I want to accomplish, which is creating a character design portfolio, learning softwares right now was not benefiting me as much as practicing the fundamentals of like gesture drawing and expressions and so on. So this is me warming up after a while of not drawing too. So like I said, it's okay. The most important part is to practice and just kind of conquer that fear of, oh my god, I haven't drawn in like 3-4 months. So as I'm going into the second drawing, I kind of understand more on the face what's going on. I think you'll notice as the video goes on, it's something I noticed as I was drawing it. It gets slightly faster and faster as I go. It's not that I'm timing myself, it's that practicing literally gives you courage. So even if you're not noticing it, you draw the first one, you draw the second one, and you start to pick up on where the nose goes and where the eyes usually go, and it's something that you develop. It's not something that you're trying to time. And for all means, like, I know I said that this could be a good warm-up, and it is. It is something that sometimes I try to time myself because I could spend all day trying to shade in. I get carried away instead of just using it as a warm-up. So if you need to, I would say time yourself, and that way you know it's just a warm-up. Give yourself 10 minutes and try to figure out as much of the face as you can in 10 minutes, and then just go into your drawings. Or you could do what I did. Even though this is a warm-up video, I did just decide to draw faces all day because I thought, I don't know if you all do this, but I get into like the zone of drawing where I'm like, I know what I'm doing now, and I just keep drawing, and it kind of becomes mindless at a point. Not completely mindless though. So this is a really important thing I wanted to talk about, was why do we say to ourselves, I'm not good at drawing? I had to finish this video because I knew it would be a great example of exactly what I'm talking about. So I did my first drawing and I was like, this looks terrible. I could not get the face right. He looked a lot older than like the kid that I was trying to draw, and I couldn't get it right. I was like, I don't know. But I kept drawing. And I think that is literally the most important part, is that I could have stopped after that first drawing and been like, I just can't draw, or like, I'll do it some other day because it's not coming out like I wanted it to come out right now. And as you can see, at the end of this video, I finished 6 drawings, and in the process, learn as you go. Don't just say, oh, I'm not good at this, and then stop. That's literally the pushing point of learning. You have to push yourself and be like, well, let me just do one more, right? Like, forget about this one, let's keep going. And the more I kept drawing, the more I felt sure about how things were gonna look and where I was gonna place them and just how much value to add. I want to talk about the fear of a drawing. Anytime I've met someone that like stopped drawing, they're like, oh, well, I'm just not good at drawing. And it's something that we all say to ourselves, like artist or not artist, but I think it's a really important statement that's not necessarily correct. So yeah, I don't think there is such a thing as I'm not good at drawing. It's more like, where am I choosing to stop learning? Even if it's a day at a time, it's growth doesn't happen in one day. Any great artist out there did not start making perfect art ever. Like, you learn because you practice. The key here, I believe, is to practice and to use your drawings not just as like, well, I did 6 drawings, but as you're working through those drawings and sketches, question what you could be doing better. The speed is not going to come right off the bat. I actually took about 3 hours to sketch these out. Even though it's a warm-up, I took 3 hours with this one. I was learning, and that was pretty fun. But then two, once you get in the mindset of like trying to get the values right, you just lose track of time and it becomes fun. So speed comes with practice, and that will come. I know we try to compare ourselves to other artists, and that's not something we should do. Some people are a little faster, but maybe it's because they've practiced a bit more, and that's something that's just, it's gonna come naturally. You could choose to work faster, but if you don't know what you're doing, it's not gonna look any better. So just take your time. It's not a race. So when I was drawing this character, the battery started running low, and I was like, well, it's okay. I'll turn off the camera and I'll continue recording afterwards, because, you know, either way I gotta fix it up because it's just not looking right. And I realized that would have defeated the whole purpose of why I want to share these videos. I am working on a portfolio to make a character design portfolio. And in that, there is growth. Not everything is perfect, but that's why we practice. And so I decided to turn the camera back on and see if it would last through, or see if the battery would not die on me while I finished recording this one drawing. And that's truly the best part of this video, is I chose to share an insecurity of, well, this character doesn't look right. But I was like, no, this is perfect. Get discouraged. And what I'm trying to do is show that it's not always perfect. Yes, I can draw pretty or decent here and there, but at the same time, they're not always perfect drawings, because I'm challenging myself with different perspectives. I'm trying to draw different expressions that I'm not used to, different ethnicities that I haven't practiced drawing. And I think it's really important to show transparency, because, like I said, when I was growing up, a lot of times it was very discouraging when I would try to find like how to finish a portfolio or how to work on a portfolio. And there's not many people that show their mistakes on camera, at least like their drawings. Like, their drawings are usually done perfectly, and that's awesome. But I think one of the things I've realized going to art school is that a lot of peers grew up being discouraged by thinking that everyone does everything perfect, and it's not true. So I chose to keep recording because, like I said, a portfolio is not perfect. You're learning and you're growing, and what you're creating or where you're going to put in the portfolio are the better pieces, but you only get to the better pieces after you've learned. So I kept recording, and this is me trying to figure out how to make this person look more like the person in the picture. And because I kept going, the finished product ended up looking a lot better than where I would have left it at if I would have given up where I wanted to give up. And I think what I found most satisfying was that I was gonna leave it where it was, and I was like, no, like, it's not gonna look like that. I can figure out this puzzle piece, and I can figure out why this person does not look like the person in the picture. So yeah, that's one of the main examples on this video that I'm really happy was on this video, is that we need to push past the uncomfortable parts of sketching, because at the end of the day, like I said, this is a warm-up. I am here to make mistakes, and I'm here to grow from them, and that is literally what warm-ups are for. They're for you to loosen up and learn as much as you can and have fun, so that you can get in the mindset to start working, because now you've got it going. I think it's easier to say it doesn't look like it, I'm not a good artist, and drop it, rather than pushing yourself, because that point is the growing point. And when you push yourself past that, then you're challenging yourself. So in high school, I decided to take 2 AP classes for art specifically. I don't want to say that I was so much an overachiever. I think I just really wanted to learn. And there was I was practicing traditional medias, and there was so much I wanted to learn that I was like, well, the best way to learn is practice. So I'm going to take 2 AP art classes and see what I can learn. For this AP class, you have to finish I think it was like 10 to 20 portfolio pieces, and then you would get graded like 1 through 5, I think, at the end of the year. And you could pick what you wanted to draw. So it could be a portfolio, it had to be consistent. So you could have chosen to draw butterflies, or you could have chosen to draw fur. Like, there had to be a common theme to tie them together. And at that point, I was still learning. I think it was my junior year. I was still learning, and I mostly tried to stay away from faces a lot of the time, because it was one of the hardest things for me. So I chose to challenge myself, and that was probably one of the best decisions I ever made. And this is where also another learning point comes. You have to look to other people other than yourself sometimes, because you don't have all the answers. So I think this is one of the most important things I learned from one of my art teachers in high school. I was really upset about this drawing. I had gone up to him and I was like, I cannot get it to look like this person. Please help me. I'm dying. And he was like, it's funny because a lot of times we skip over the most important parts of the face, which make people, and that's their features, which is very true. So he told me that some of the most important things that you have to be very careful with are like how you draw the nose and how you draw the ears and the eyes, because that makes individuals. Some people have like a little dent on their nose above, and some people have a rounder tip at their nose, and some people have wider noses. Their lips might be really thin. Their lips might only curl on one side if they smile. So really analyzing someone's face, like to the detail, is really important as well to really get character. So that is something that I would want to share as well, or that I found very helpful. So now that I draw people, and whenever it starts to not look like the person, I take a step back and I breathe. And I'm like, okay, why does it not look like this person? Are the eyes not the right size or shape? Or did I make the chin longer than? also, let me know if this was helpful. I hope that more of you all leave today saying, I can be better at drawing rather than I'm not good at drawing. It's a really big misconception, and I think at some point, from what I've seen and heard, it becomes offensive to artists in the industry when people say, oh my god, you're just so naturally talented, I wish I was as good as you, because we don't realize sometimes how hard other people work as well to get good at a skill. So it's kind of like saying, oh my god, you didn't work so hard and stay up dozens of nights practicing, you're just really good. So maybe be sensitive to your other artists and realize that if they get really good, it's because they're practicing a lot and probably not sleeping like for days. But having chosen to draw this many pieces in 1 year was like the hardest thing, because before I had decided this, it would take me a whole year to finish one drawing. And it was for art competitions, but it used to take me a whole year to finish one good drawing that I was proud of. So I was like, okay, I'm kind of tired of staying away from faces. Like I think I was so upset that I couldn't draw faces that I decided to draw 20 faces. And what this did was it gave me the practice that I was looking for, which gave me the confidence. And then that also led to my drawings becoming a little faster. The more I drew, the faster I got through pieces, and not so much because I was trying to time myself. Like I said, I wasn't trying to time myself, but I realized that I just became a bit more comfortable drawing faces, and I would get through them a little quicker. And I was also excited to draw different shapes of faces. So I was like, the quicker I finish this, the quicker I get to another piece with like maybe like a little baby with like big old cheeks, or like a grandma with like more wrinkles. And it was just exciting for me to keep learning. So if you can choose to step out of your comfort zone, it's not the most comfortable thing, but I was so proud of myself for, I think, creating a portfolio of growth. Like I could see where I started and I could see where I ended, and it was one of the best things that I learned from my art teachers was get up and look at it from a different perspective, quite literally. Like if you're sitting down, you're not very much looking at it from like above, you're kind of at an angle. So whenever you get up and you look at it from afar, you can kind of see more of the of what's wrong. Like, oh, like because of the angle that I'm drawing it in, the measurements were off. So definitely getting up and looking at it from afar or from above, or as you're drawing, you're gonna realize that there are little things that were off because of your angle, and that'll help as well. So the learning experience comes in trying to figure out what didn't match up. It was satisfying. And also let me know if any of this was helpful, and maybe like what are the biggest challenges that you all face when trying to learn. I think out of all of these drawings, my favorite one ended up being the little girl. She has such pretty eyes. I don't know, am I the only one that thinks that the top left one looks like Muscle Man from Regular Show? I think he looks like Muscle Man, and now I want to draw a high five ghost next to him and like the whole crew, but I don't know. You all let me know if I'm just making that up. Maybe I drew him because I missed that show. I don't know. RIP. Thank you all so much for watching. Take care and keep drawing.